Hey guys, it is Wednesday, which means we are here for Wednesday Work Wisdom. And I am here to chit chat with you today about getting over your fear of making a major investment in your dream career. So, something that maybe you don't have now, or something maybe you are not sure that you can even land or get. Maybe because it's going to be a little bit of a quote unquote reach for you because of either coronavirus or because it's going to be a career change for you or whatever it might be for your personal situation. But if you've been watching regularly, I have been basically talking about acknowledging how this situation has been very different for us, and basically how this has been unlike anything that we've had to deal with before. I've never seen anything like this. I'm sure many of you will agree. But we need to own this challenge and we need to do the best that we can with it. So, what can we do to get you, the job seeker, to what it is that you want, which is your outcome? Finding a job, finding that next step that you want. So, let's talk about that. As a job seeker, it's really important to know and understand how to manage that fear that we're talking about and uncertainty that will bring you the outcome that you want. And I've been talking a lot about this. And ultimately, it is also your responsibility as a job seeker to be sure that you're finding a unique way to stand out as a candidate. But what I know and what I've seen is that letting fear win will keep you stuck. And letting fear win is ultimately the worst way and is the worst thing that you can possibly do. Because what happens is then indecisiveness kicks in. And indecisiveness is one of the major ways I've seen job seekers get stuck. It's one of the major things that I've seen. And what happens is job seekers will think that they need to find the best thing that's out there. And sometimes that's hard because you don't know sometimes what's around the corner or what's around behind the door. So say you're going for an interview. Say you have 3 interviews scheduled in a week. We're making this up obviously, but say you have 3 interviews scheduled in a week. One goes well, one does not, and one isn't a match. But you're really hoping for number 3 because that was maybe the quote unquote dream role because of the company. Well, you don't know that because you've been pushing so hard on that one. Well, this is why you can't always wait for the 3rd one. And this is why when I talk about dream careers, it's super important to understand what defines a dream career as well. And this is where it gets tricky because some people will tell you don't look for that because that doesn't exist. But it does, because it's about what is your dream, what is your passion, and what is the dream career that you want. And this doesn't have to be what someone else thinks. I mean, someone could tell you a dream career is going to Hollywood. Yeah, okay. Your dream career could be being a project manager. It's apples and oranges, right? It's not going to be the same thing. So it doesn't matter what someone else thinks at all. It doesn't matter. So if someone tells you a dream career doesn't exist, don't listen to that. That's not true. It does exist. And it's about what makes you happy. And it's about finding the best version of yourself and what will help you become the best version of yourself. And this is so important because we associate so much of work with our identity that people actually have a hard time separating the two. You'll see it'll be like work and then your identity like this on top of each other. Instead of people being able to separate them, like you should be able to separate them completely. You should be able to separate who you are from what you do completely. But instead, we do it like this and we have it completely one on top of the other. And it makes it very hard for people to have an identity outside of work. And this is why it makes it so difficult for people to find that, I'll call it a quote unquote dream career for now, to find that. Because what happens is you don't know who you are then, and you have a harder time defining yourself. But you have to be able to define yourself and know what you want. And this is where getting over the fear, and I'm not saying it like just get over it, I'm saying you have to learn how to deal with it. And by doing that, it's by make it your friend. You have to become comfortable with it. If you cannot become comfortable with it, then it will always own you. And that's not right either, because then what happens is the second you try to do something that's scary to you, fear will always kick in, or anxiety, or both actually, will always kick in, and your brain will always say, no, this doesn't feel good, this doesn't feel right, this is scary, back away. Instead of saying, well, wait a minute, let's dive in a little deeper and figure out why this might feel that way, but how can we get past that? So I can get past that and get to what it is that I'm trying to do and get to what I want. That's the right thing to do. Because if we're always backing away, we'll back away from every challenge in our life. And that's not good. So the best way to work with fear is by owning it, making it your friend. And while you obviously don't have to love it, no one loves it. I don't think anybody loves fear. It's just about making yourself comfortable with it. Learning how to take those calculated risks. Getting comfortable taking calculated risks one at a time. And learning how to do that a little at a time, very slowly. So if you back away from a challenge, particularly something that interests you, especially if it has something to do with your career, then you're training your brain to become nervous and anxious each time you encounter a bit of fear, instead of being able to conquer it. That's not what you want. So if you want to make a change in your life, then it begins with how you approach it and what you do and how you react to it. But it's also important to remember that job seeking will naturally remove you from your comfort zone. So this is something that's going to naturally make you uncomfortable anyways, because you have to sell yourself and your skills and put yourself forward. And some people will tell me, oh, it makes me feel like I'm bragging. And you're not necessarily bragging. But you have to do that anyways. So this is something that will naturally remove that barrier. And unfortunately, it's the COVID crisis that has also removed job seekers from their comfort zone. And through this, you can actually use these things to your advantage by pushing yourself forward as a candidate and making yourself by the one that they want to hire. Make yourself seen as the expert in your industry by how you approach your job search. Increase your expectations. And obviously I can go on and about this, but the point is, make fear your friend. Get comfortable with it. Learn how to stay comfortable with it and stay in motion instead of letting it make you feel like you're stuck in the quicksand and feel like that you can't do it. But you also have to remember that you want to work with a proven process. And if it's that proven process that you're afraid of, you will also stay stuck. And I've seen that happen as well. So it's in this way that I've had many clients do very well. And I would love to talk to you. If any of this describes you, do you know how you're going to reach your outcome? Are you struggling to reach your next role? Are you struggling to get a salary increase? Are you struggling to have someone see you, maybe not necessarily as a quote unquote expert, but as someone of value that can bring something of value to your industry and to the role that you're interviewing for? Are you even struggling to get interviews? Are you even struggling to get to that point? Because that's also important. You don't want to be stuck at that point, especially now, because unfortunately the COVID crisis is going to make the job market very competitive. So if any of this is ringing a bell for you and you're saying, yep, wow, that's me, I'd say, let's talk. Because you want to be able to get to your outcome. And you want to do it without struggling. I've seen people that have been looking for jobs for 10, 15 years. No joke. I'm not even kidding. And that's not funny. Because the things that it'll do to your life, I've seen bankruptcy, I've seen divorce, I've seen mental health issues. I've seen all of them together because we have such a difficult time identifying ourselves away from work. And if we can't find what we want and we can't get to that point, it can really wreak havoc on your life. So if you decide to like to talk, you will get a proper diagnosis of what's going on. And I will even tell you if you're a fit, if you're not a fit. And I'm going to leave a link in the comments for you to book a call. And I'd love to talk to you. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I also love to answer them. But please make sure you're taking care of yourselves and your families. And if you have anything for me, just shoot me a message and let me know. But I am looking forward to chatting with any of you and working on getting you to your next level and your next role and a salary increase as well. And I hope everyone has a great Wednesday, and I will catch you next week, and we will be talking about something else. It should be same time, 1 o'clock, next Wednesday. So please make sure you take care of yourselves, stay healthy, and if there's anything I can do, shoot me a DM or an email, but I will leave the link in the comments for you to book that call if that's what you're looking to do. I hope this helps you, and have an awesome day.